There's lots of zombie shooters in VR, there's lots of co-op shooters in VR, there's lots of extraction shooters in VR, and there's lots of roguelites in VR. But Requisition VR puts all of these together in a weird but pretty good mix. So yeah, Requisition VR. It launched on PC VR on Steam back in 2023 and is now available for MetaQuest headsets. And what is here is actually pretty good. The game's had some mixed reviews since it launched a few weeks ago, and honestly, I can't understand why. The game does exactly what it says it's going to do and makes it quite interesting as it does it. So you start in this weird hub thing, and this is really overcomplicated. There's too much going on when you first start. And things like the crafting and whatever else should have been introduced later. But we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to talk about how you dive into the action. So you do a little tutorial and you go around and teaches you like to smash walls and take out security cameras and the basic run of how to collect items and so on. Doesn't ever actually tell you what weapons do and how to fight zombies, but that's like an aside, right? You should already know that. Once you get out into the real world, ignoring all that hub nonsense that's vastly too complicated when you're first starting out, you find that you are left in an arena, a pretty large arena, to explore, to find items, to avoid zombies and traps, and essentially to find a code for a special item that's within the area somewhere, get that item using the code you found, and get to the extraction point. Sounds pretty straightforward, but in reality, when you're playing the game, you're constantly aware that a zombie could creep up from behind you at any moment. The zombies themselves, I mean, the animation's a bit stilted, but there are other things going on in this game that you can excuse that. For example, the draw distance is quite impressive considering how many objects are on screen at any one time. So the zombies are quite dangerous. It's not like you'll encounter one and die if you miss a hit, but that you only take 4 to 5 blows before your health drops down. And so when you have a few around you or one sneaks up from behind, it can be quite punishing. You can find bandages and heal yourself in the world, just like you can find many other items. And these items are found by finding storage containers around the place, whacking the button to open them up, and taking what's inside. And these storage containers are pretty common. You're going to see them in lots of different places. And as such, they are the lure in order to get you to explore further. You'll be walking around and you'll see one in the distance and you'll think, that's where I'm going to head to. That's what I want to get to. But at the same time, you can be aware that there are zombies around the area. So instead of just running straight towards it, almost certain death, you'll be looking around the area to try and find a new way to get to that crate, to get to that reward without taking on too many zombies at once. This alone creates an interesting scenario where you're exploring for genuine reward's sake, even before you take into account the big golden trophy for completing the level. If you find that your health is running low before you reach the point of getting this code and this special item, you can extract at any point, and you do get rewarded for doing so. The amount of zombies that you've taken out, the amount of cameras that you've taken out, the amount of items that you found, all of these things contribute to a score that rewards you with more money in the roguelike element of this game. Now what this is in that overcomplicated hub that I mentioned earlier, you can spend money to unlock new rewards. You can also destroy your existing objects to create new objects. You can recycle stuff that you found in the world. All of this gets pretty heavy as the game goes on. You're going to want to make sure that you're upgrading the right weapons, things that you use often, and other weapons can just be put aside. Your inventory is pretty limited, so you're going to want to make sure that you're taking the weapons that you love to use, the ones that you are best with, and leaving your backpack pretty empty so that you can collect more items within the world. Once you get to the extraction point, if you've still got some items in your backpack that you don't really want, then you can recycle those and maybe get a new Molotov cocktail to start the next run with. But ultimately, the game is about working with the items that you love and that you are proficient with and making sure that they are upgraded enough that your next run is going to be successful. Now, the multiplayer mode of Requisition VR is billed as PvPvE, as in you can have teammates and go in and co-op and you simply play the same gameplay modes but with friends, and that's pretty cool. But there's also this a PvP element of the PvPvE, where you can have other human opponents within that world as well. And now this makes the game a bit of a chore, if I'm honest. Yeah, not a fan of this one. Basically, it's the same game, except now you've got other players that are also able to shoot at you and attack you, and your health drains super quick. And so, yeah, personally, this one's not for me. I'm sure there's some players out there who will love it. What we have in addition to the extraction mode, that the main part of the game is a Horde mode. And this will be familiar to anyone who's played any kind of Horde mode in the last 10, 15 years, whatever. It's basically, you're in an environment and there's lots of zombies coming towards you and you have to survive. You have to take them out. And that's it. That's all there is to it. But when played with friends, of course, this is still quite fun. Especially when you're using weapons and equipment that you're already familiar with and you're becoming quite proficient. You will find yourselves being able to push through further with a good team playing at once. Requisition VR does have its issues. It's not all roses and sunshine. Like I say, the hub system is overly complex. I mean, simple things like when you're taking your cash that you've won after each extraction to the machine to cash it in, you have to put one set of cash in the slot and then hit a button on the side. Nowhere does it explain this to you. At the start, it simply looks like you press where the screen says, put your cash here. And so you're trying that, and instead you find this button on the side. And you can only do one stack of bills at a time, which means that, cashing in half a dozen takes far longer than it should. And there's so many aspects of the game that aren't explained thoroughly enough. For example, on your wrist, you have the ability to bring up a map of any area. And in a tutorial, it tells you can do this. But the button never seemed to work for me. I never was able to access this map, no matter how much I played with that wrist-mounted device. So maybe you need a bit more. Maybe the tutorial needs a bit fleshing out, and that hub needs to be, I don't know, maybe certain areas are locked off until you've done a run or two, and you can start using the stuff in those areas. So ultimately, Requisition VR is a very good extraction shooter, roguelike, zombie shooter, multiplayer game. There are limitations and there are issues, but overall, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. So if you're looking for some kind of new co-op extraction shooter fun experience, Requisition VR comes highly recommended. If you're looking for a new PvP game, though, I mean, at least Requisition tries, but there is far better out there on MetaQuest. Requisition VR is available now for MetaQuest headsets, and I highly recommend that you check this one out.